Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Theory Thursday. Every week we get together and we have a look at an element of Blood Bowl, whether it's a tactic, a strategy, some statistics. Basically, we take a bit of a deep dive and try to up our game by learning a little bit more about something. So you guys have asked for this one a couple of times, especially when we did the combat skills, I think, or the block stats. You were like, what? How does Pro work? How good is Pro? So today we are going to spend a few minutes and we're going to look at the Pro skill. We're going to look at how good it is, what it replaces, so that really you can get a good idea of when and why you'd want to take Pro. First things first, let's actually have a look at the skill. So Pro got better in this edition. During the activation, this player may attempt to re-roll one dice. This dice may have been rolled either as a single die roll, so think dodge or bonehead, or a negative trait, or as part of a multiple dice roll, or as part of a dice pool, so a block action. But cannot be a dice that was rolled as part of an armor, injury, or casualty roll. That makes sense. So basically, Pro gives you a chance to re-roll a one die test, so if making a pass, trying to pass a negative trait roll, or the chance to re-roll one of your dice from your block pool. When you do it, roll a d6. On a 3+, you can re-roll that dice. On a 1 or a 2, that can't be rolled. And this has got better since the last edition. The last edition was 4+, and it counted as a re-roll. Now it's 3+, but you can only re-roll one dice. Now, most of the time, one dice is going to do enough for you. Once this player has attempted to use this skill, they may not use a re-roll from any other source to re-roll that one dice. So if you do have a team reroll, definitely consider using that instead of Pro, because you cannot re-roll the dice if you fail your Pro test. So it also works interestingly when it comes to using block dice. If you use a team reroll, you re-roll all the dice in your block dice pool. If you use Pro and re-roll a dice and you don't like the result, you cannot now use a team reroll to re-roll that dice pool. What you can do, and we are going to come to this a little bit later, is say you're making a 2-die block. You can use Brawler to re-roll a both down, and use Pro to attempt to re-roll another dice in your die pool. So being able to combo Brawler and Pro does net you significant gains, and we're going to look at that, and I think I've run the stats versus the block skill as well, so we can kind of gauge how good block is versus Pro. So running the numbers when it comes to Pro, I'll just briefly explain how I've done this. So the fail percent, so say you're trying to make a 4+ pass, that's a 50% fail. That times the 3+ success dice that you have to roll times the pass percentage equals your bonus stats. So on that sweet 4+ roll, if you want to use Pro to re-roll it, for example you're out of team re-rolls or something, it would be a 50% fail chance times 67% chance times your pass of 50%, which works out at about a quarter of 67%, so it's about a 17% bonus chance. So that would take you from a 50% success rate to a 67% success rate. But that means nothing, so let's have a look at this chart here. So this is single die tests, and this is kind of where Pro comes in. Pro has historically been a fantastic skill to put on big guys, or on vampires is a cracking one because of the way Bloodlust used to work. So being able to have that, right, 3+, if I get a chance to re-roll it, brilliant. If I don't get a chance to re-roll it, never mind. It was kind of that interim between I don't need to use a team re-roll, and I would like this dice roll to be better. Now the real advantage here, before we even bother to look at the numbers, is that you ignore Loner here. So you go from burning a team reroll and having to roll a 4+ for Loner to just trying to roll a 3+ for Pro. So you actually get better odds and it doesn't cost you a team reroll. That's why Pro has historically been a really interesting skill to put on big guys. The difficult thing about Pro is that it is a general skill, and so is block. So if you can get a general skill like block on a big guy, it is often a juicier prospect. However, let's have a look at the stats of rolling single die rolls here. Okay, so 2+. So we're looking at Bonehead. We're looking at really stupid when you've got friends, and we're looking at animal savagery when you're making a blitz, for example. Or if you're showing off a 2+ pass action. 83% chance without a reroll of making that work. With Pro, you get that extra bonus and it takes you up to 92%. So if you have got Pro on a big guy, it does take it from 83 to 92%. So 92% is going to be a 1 in 11 chance of failure versus a 1 in 6. So it kind of, almost halves the chance of it going wrong. So it does, in that regard, it is really beneficial. So if we go to a 3+, it takes it from 67% to 82%. Now 82 is almost basically what you're looking for a 2+. So if you've got Pro, it kind of takes a 3+ all the way up to a 2+ when you're looking at rolling for things. I'm not quite sure what you'd want to do or what you'd be doing with a 3+ using Pro, but it can be anything. It can be making that sweet dodge roll. If you are going classic kind of like vampires with Pro and taking that 2+ dodge into 1 tackle zone, for example, and you've got Pro, fantastic. Oh wow, actually, oh wow, okay, this is tasty. War Dancers have got Leap. Giving them Pro means that their 2+ rolls go to 92% success rate and their 3+ leap actions go up to 82%. That makes leaping with War Dancers actually pretty effective. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Alright, 4+, like I said earlier, takes it from 50% chance to 67% chance, which is basically a 3+ roll instead of a 4+ all in. Difficulty is you don't have a reroll on top of the Pro, but that's okay. 5+, so if I don't even know what you're doing here. The 4+, though, let's consider that this is for really stupid territory, or trying to move somebody who has animal savagery. So vampires, taking it from 50% chance to a 67% chance is a big boon. 5+ would be a 33% chance all the way up to 48%. And a 6+ is 17% all the way up to 26. So you can see that it is almost equivalent to kind of +1 to the die roll. It's probably, that's a really good heuristic. So if I want to do something that's on a 4+, but I've got Pro, I can kind of assume I'm rolling one number better. Okay. So if I need a 3+, but I got Pro, it's kind of 2+ level stats. It's going to feel worse sometimes because you're going to fail the Pro dice roll, or you're going to pass the Pro dice roll and still fail the roll. So it's going to feel like it's going to feel worse because you're failing 3 dice instead of 1 or 2 with a reroll. But the point is that Pro will get you there, and basically feels like having +1 to the dice. But because you don't have that guarantee of a reroll, let's have a look at it versus an actual reroll. So 2+, 92% with a team reroll, 97%. 3+, 82% with a team reroll, 89%. 4+, 67% with Pro and 75% with a reroll. 48% for 5+, and 55% with that Pro with reroll, and 26% on a 6+ with Pro versus 31% with a reroll. So although Pro kind of nets you, it kind of feels like free equity, it's not as useful as that team reroll. But you have a limited amount of team rerolls. Once per turn, every single player that has got Pro can do it. However, if you are in that situation where you've got a team reroll to burn, if it's a really important die roll, team reroll is going to be better for you. But we don't play Blood Bowl just to pass the ball and dodge around. We play Blood Bowl to punch things in the face. So, no skills, blocking here. We're going to have a look at blocking, and then blocking using Pro to kind of figure out just how much advantage that Pro skill can give you if you're making block actions. So these are the stats without Pro. So a 1 die block has a 33% chance of powering somebody down. We're ignoring skull. We're ignoring skulls. You can't ignore skulls. That's the point. We are assuming you've got no skills here, so that both down is bad for you. Okay. There's always a chance that actually both down is going to be useful for you, but we are going to assume that you want to stay up and make sure they're knocked down. So 2 dice is 55% chance of success, 3 dice is a 70% chance of success, -2 dice, so you're punching somebody stronger than you, 11% chance, and -3 dice, you're punching somebody way stronger than you, is a 3.7% chance. So those are the stats without Pro. But with Pro, that 1 die block goes from 33% up to 48% chance of success. Again, it feels like you're adding an extra side of the dice, essentially. Because you kind of are, because at this point, you're adding 2/3 of 1/3. Anyway, 2 die block goes from 55 to 65%, and 3 die block goes from 70% to 77%. Negative 2 dice, so you're punching somebody stronger than you, goes from 11% to 16%, and a minus 3 dice, so negative 3 dice, you're punching someone way stronger than you, goes from 3.6% to 5.2%. So this, still bad. You are netting a little bit of gain here with negative 2 die blocks. Remember, this is no skills, and always punching up with no skills is going to be risky. But this kind of, yeah, you get half again, the chance to succeed. That's a pretty big gain. It feels like it is better at the lower numbers, and the reason for that is because the more dice you've got, the more chance of you not even needing pro, and that's why that bonus goes down, essentially, the more dice you're rolling. So that 1 die, you get to re-roll your entire pool. If you're rolling a 2 dice, you're going to have less chance to need that pro skill because you've got more chance to just straight up roll the POW. But you have a chance to give 2 general skills to this player, or they just start with block or wrestle. There's a few of them. No pro here, so blocking with block or wrestle, 1 die block, 50% chance. You know it, it's dwarf time. 2 die block, 75% chance. 3 die block, 82.5% chance. Negative 2 dice, 25% chance. That's pretty tasty. And a negative 3 die block is 12.5% chance. Now this is all of POW, POW, or both down. So if you've got block, it isn't going to work against someone with block. If you've got wrestle, it's going to work against everyone. And you've got pro. So block and wrestle. Block or wrestle and pro. Here we go. 1 die block goes from 50% to 67%. Not surprising, we've seen that already. 2 die block goes from 75% to 83%. Again, it feels like you get +1 to the die roll. 3 dice, 87.5% to a sweet 92% chance of being able to use pro and block or wrestle to knock your opponent to the ground. And this is where it gets pretty optimistic. There's a 1 in 3 chance, basically, of you being able to stack your opponent into the ground with a 2 die up block if you've got block or wrestle and pro. A 1 in 3 chance isn't great, and a team reroll is always going to be better than that. But it's still, to take a punt 3 turns in a row, one of those turns is going to work. At negative 3 die block, 16.5%. Still a bad idea. Now, I said we were going to have a look at the Brawler skill and how it combines with Pro. So, the way the numbers work out, it's a bit complicated. I'm pretty sure this is accurate. I spent an inordinate amount of time, definitely not in meetings, doing this. So, please feel free to correct me. Peter, you're very good with numbers. I know you like to let me know in the comments when I've got something a little bit skew-if, so please let me know, but I'm pretty confident this is the case. So if you are rolling a 1 die block, there is a 17% chance of you rolling a both down. So we are going to assume that if you roll a both down, you want to use Brawler instead because Brawler is free, whereas Pro is has got a fail case of 33%. You need to roll a 3+, therefore Brawler better to use on both down because it's an auto roll, whereas Pro's going to swoop in and save you from everything else. So this is with no other skills, just Brawler and Pro. What more do you need, right? So Pro gives you a 50% fail case times a 3%, a 3+ die roll to give you another shot at a 33% POW down. Still with me? So 1 dice, no skills, 33%. Of knocking them down. Obviously, Brawler boosts that up to 38.5% chance because you've got that opportunity to re-roll both down and get another POW. And then Pro boosts that all the way up to 49.5%. So if you have got Brawler and Pro, 1 die blocks are going to work out almost half the time. Now, we looked at the slide a second ago, and block on its own takes it to 50%. So Brawler and Pro, still not as good as block. Let's boost it up to 2 dice. So when it comes to both down, there's a 30.5% chance of you rolling a both down or 2 boths down. It doesn't matter how many boths down you roll, you can only re-roll 1. There is a massive chance of you being able to use that Pro bonus though. So 2 die block, 55% chance of working when you haven't got any skills. And I skills, I mean block and wrestle. Brawler boosts that up to 62%, and Pro boosts that up even further to a 68% chance of working on a 2 die block. And 3 dice because you like to win more. Both down, you've got a big chance of rolling at least 1 both down. And because you can also use Pro on a die roll that's not been re-rolled by Brawler, 70%, just normal dice, 76% with Brawler, and 81% with Pro. So let's round up. Pro is not as good as Block. And that's okay, because Pro is not there to replace Block. Pro is there to get your player doing stuff more regularly and making them more consistent. Pro has historically been to try and re-roll a dice that it's okay if it stays the same result. Okay, we're talking the double push. Okay, you block with someone, they've got Pro, you double push, might as well try and Pro that roll. It is now only 1 dice, so in that regard it got a little bit worse, but it is that 3 plus roll. Let's see if we can't make this a bit better. It's going to be really effective on 2 or 3 die blocks. It's going to save your skin on 1 die blocks, and the heuristic that we should all take away from this is that if you've got the Pro skill, yeah, you're going to have to roll more dice, but it's going to give you the same odds as having +1 to your dice roll. Essentially, that's not entirely correct, we just went through that, but that's a really good gauge. So, you know, if you're trying to pass a 3+ test, you don't have a team reroll, you don't have dodge, but you do have Pro, the success of you doing that is basically going to be a 2+ instead of a 3+. That's how you can go, right, is it worth, how is this going to work with Pro, what am I going to get out of Pro? Basically, guys, +1 to your die roll. You're going to have more consistency when it comes to blocking, and you're just going to have more of a chance to stay up. So Pro is a catch-all skill. It's not as good at block, and it's not as good as dodge, but it does give you a good opportunity to make your blocking better, to make your dodging better. It just gives you a chance to do everything. And I think the most important thing here is this here. So if you've got Bonehead, if you've got Wild Animal, if you've got... Oh, Wild Animal doesn't exist anymore. If you've got Animal Savagery or the other one, it takes you up from 83% to 92%. It's going to reduce your failures by better than half. And that is probably something that we should all consider using. And if you've got Loner on that player, so what? It doesn't matter. You don't have to risk the Loner reroll. If you are throwing a Goblin with a Troll, this might be worth considering, because it's going to take that 5+ pass and make it essentially a 4+ pass. If you've got strong arm as well, I mean, we're talking, you know, I like these big guys level, that's going to take that from a superb throw of 50% to 67% chance of a superb throw when it comes to throwing a teammate. That's the big boon here. So Pro used to be really good for big guys. It is now not as good because it doesn't re-roll all of your dice, but it's going to keep them activating, and it's going to keep them being more efficient, and it is going to save you sometimes. You double skull on that big guy, you don't have a team reroll, or you don't want to waste a team reroll because you're going to fail that 4+ roll. You might pass the 3+ roll to get that on the go. And it's going to be really interesting, because actually Pro is looking pretty good for big guys. It is not going to be great, and you're going to have those situations where you're like, I just wish I'd given him block. Yeah, that's fine, but block doesn't help you activate. Block doesn't help your star blitzer dodge out and also get better at punching things and get better at throwing things. So Pro is an interesting one. It kind of gives you +1 to everything. It is the ultimate skill of Jack of all trades, master of none. Consider it. Block is better, dodge is better, but there are going to be times where taking Pro helps both elements in the same turn. Not really, but you know what I mean, like both elements in the same game, and that is just going to make your team way more consistent. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Pro in this edition, if I've got any of the numbers wrong, and what else you want us to cover. You guys are giving us some great suggestions for Theory Thursday. We've got a big list, but I do always want to hear what you want to talk through. Anyway, I'm going to scoot off, and we will see you again soon for some more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.